What's going on, guys? We'd like to welcome everybody to our very first episode.
That's right.
Of the Rez Marquee.
S1, season 1.
Season 1. You know, we got some coffee going here. It's been a long day, man.
It's been a long, good day.
Yeah,
man,
and this is, Ernie right now is actually in Rio Rancho, where I'm from, and we're at the home base of the Rez Marquee.
We're at the studio, Rez Marquee studio.
Rez Marquee studio. Yeah, that's what it is. So.
Now, what is a Rez Marquee? What is a marquee?
What is the marquee?
I want to know what a marquee is.
You can explain the marquee better than I can.
A marquee, if you look up the word marquee, back in the day, it was a tent for entertainment. So, for example, circuses have a marquee tent, and so back in the day, traveling entertainment would go around the land and they'd set up their marquee, a tent, and they would have all different kinds of entertainment. Yeah. So, and we're native entertainers, so we say, let's just make it a Rez Marquee. So that's our theme, is this a Rez Marquee, a place for entertainment to talk about just whatever we feel like it. If we want to talk about native movies,
Yeah.
Powell Howie, that was one of my first movies that influenced me, as an actor. And so we're going to talk about just whatever we feel like. And they can make suggestions too, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, of course, down below, make your comments, post your comments. Let us know what it is that you want, or you would want us to either talk about, or maybe, maybe even challenge us to something. I don't know.
Yeah,
what do you think?
We could do a challenge. We're gonna keep it nice.
Yeah. Keep it PG too. We got kids watching these things too. So yeah, man. I mean, we're willing to. Of course, with some, restrictions, we're willing to do whatever it is you guys submit out there.
I'm not that flexible.
Yeah, he's not that flexible.
You can't be challenging me to a 13K marathon, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so of course, just put it down in the comments below, and we're gonna try to maybe even as we move along, with the episodes, we're gonna read everybody's comments and try to. Answer any of your comments, and see if we can maybe, put some of those things in there.
That's right.
Into some of our shows,
And one of the things that we're thinking about doing, right, is having like special guests.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, either calling in or we want to make this show about locations, about going out there and checking out the town or wherever we're at, or it could be in Albuquerque. It could be even like on location on somewhere on the Rez,
right,
or one of the pueblos or Santa Fe, wherever. But we want to take it out there. Let's say we have a guest, right? And we call them up and say, hey, can you meet us at a restaurant? And we'll shoot down there and hang out with said guest, whoever that is, maybe,
right. Mm-hmm.
And just chat. It's all about just getting to know each other, and bringing some entertainment to you, So we want to make it really relaxed and just have fun with this Rez Marquee.
Yeah.
What do we call it? Is it a vlog, a podcast?
Video podcast.
Video podcast, yeah. Okay, so unlike Joe Rogan, I watched Joe Rogan's the Rogan Experience.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a really nice setup. I like how they kind of just chat back and forth. But we want to be out there, man, and we want to check out. We could go to a coffee shop, and test out their coffee and give a report on that, whatever. And not the mainstream stuff, but there's
local, coffee shops.
There's a shop downtown Albuquerque that Isaiah Yazzie took me to, man. It was good,
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
And also just give everybody the opportunity, if you have something you're trying to either showcase or trying to promote, this would be definitely a great place to do it, if you guys have something like that. And again, just, we'll leave a link below as well to where, you can, get either one, in contact with either one of us too.
And we probably won't go like all political, right? We're gonna keep it light. We're all about entertainment, having a good time.
These past few years, we've had enough political talk. That's right. Over and done with. So we're all about having fun.
And that's Rez Marquee in a pinion shell.
Yeah, I like that.
Did that?
Yeah.
Pinion shell.
Pinion sounds good.
By the way, I haven't had pinions in quite a while. Since before the pandemic. That's what happens. The pandemic just wiped out everything, including pinions.
Yeah. See, I think the last time I had pinions, my face swelled up.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Man.
I'm allergic to pinions, man.
I can't believe this.
Yeah.
That's like an oxymoron.
It's weird,
a native,
man.
not related,
right.
allergic to pinions.
Man, I remember having some and then like cruising down the road, and then...
That's like Walter White being allergic to meth.
Right. It was funny because we were driving down the road and, all of a sudden, my daughter looks at me. You know, we're just cruising, and she's like looking at me. She's like, "Dad," and we just got done getting the opinions.
Yeah.
And I was driving, and you're driving all cool, and she's like, "Dad, what's wrong with your lip?" I started to feel that tingle, you know.
Oh, man.
So what's going on with my lip, you know? So I started kind of messing with it. I started looking at the rearview mirror. You know, sure enough, it started getting all swelled up. And it's like, holy crap, you know? So yeah, that was my last.
That was your Hitch.
Yeah, that was
Hitch
my.
moment, huh? Have you seen that movie Hitch? Will Smith.
Yeah.
It's all swollen.
Yeah, I just didn't have the
Benadryl.
the Benadryl.
I was looking at now Rez Marquee. My big old head has been in the way, so let me do this.
See, now you're just taking the whole frame of the shot.
No, they can see the marquee now when I do this.
Oh, okay. Is that what was?
Yeah. First, it reads Rez Marquee. Right? When I go like this, oh, marquee. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's not Rez Marquee, guys. It's Rez Marquee.
So hey, John. So John, we've been friends quite a number of years now.
Yeah, man.
But I don't know your backstory, man. What's your backstory? You know?
Oh, geez, where do I
without
start?
getting too deep, you know what
I mean, everything's deep.
I mean? I know.
It's like, where do you start, man?
It's like back in the Rez, the snow used to be deep. It's not
Yeah.
deep anymore.
I remember it was a snowy, rainy night, you know. And,
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, what agency did you grow up on?
what agency?
Rez, what agency? Are you Asian agency, Central?
Oh man,
They got agencies
got me
on
on
Rez,
that one. I
right?
didn't know there was agencies. I feel like I'm behind
Oh
on
wait,
something.
no, you're urban Indian, right?
I'm
You grew up-
urban, yeah.
you grew up in the city.
Urban-esque. Yeah.
Urban-esque.
Yeah, because I did grow up in Monument Valley up
Okay,
until
that's-
like maybe,
okay.
I don't know, when I was 12, maybe 14.
Yeah.
And I think my mom wanting to get an education, furthering her education, and actually going back to school, college, was what really led us to go back to, or not back, I should say, to Phoenix.
Okay.
That's kind of how we ended up there.
Yeah.
You know, as my mom, you know, she went to school and she found a job, and then you know, of course we had to try to find a place there so we can so she can further her work.
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
Like that. She got into chiropractor. So, anyways, that's how it started.
Your mom's a chiropractor, huh?
Yeah, she's been working there.
could use some of that.
This year is actually her 22nd year, I believe.
Nice.
Being a chiropractor, which I was kind of crazy. You know, she's getting ready to retire soon.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, I wasn't always a city boy, you know, Rez, and I still have a lot of a Rez in me, you know. And
Got a lot of Rez.
a lot of Rez stories, you know. And,
That's why you're.
that's why I got all kinds of.
Opinions.
That's where all my scars came from.
Rez.
So if I was completely on the Rez and lived there, then yeah, I probably wouldn't be allergic to it.
You look like Drexel, man, from that one. What was that movie with Drexel? You know what I'm talking about? Quentin Tarantino.
No, I only laugh because you're laughing.
Okay.
Like I knew what I was saying.
Yeah,
That
was a good one.
Knew what you were talking about. Oh yeah.
I forgot, man. Does it ever happen to you, man? Like, sometimes I'll be thinking about something and it just flies away, man. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like right now, I can't even think of this movie. It's a good movie too. It's one of Quentin Tarantino's scripts that he sold. It's one of his first ones, but it has a character of Drexel.
Drexel.
He was a that big scar though. But anyway, getting off subject there. Myself, I grew up under Rez. I was like a Rez dog. My mom too was also really big in education, and she went to school in Albuquerque UNN. Got her master's degree in home economics. Right. So home economics, right? Home and economics, saving money at home. And one of her ways that she saved money, she made my own clothes, school clothes.
Oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. Like home economics, like you save money
exactly.
if you're at home.
So it was bad for me though, good for her. But as a kid, because back in the '70s, right, the pattern for material was polka dots or stripes. And man, I have pictures of me in these little clothes, like as a fourth grader, and I got polka dot sleeves and striped. That's a recipe for getting bullied and getting beat up, man.
You're just asking for it,
Yeah,
man.
asking for it. Man. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate that. Saved her a few bucks, but yeah. But so I grew up. My mom was pretty big on education too.
Yeah.
She always told me, man, you're definitely gonna go finish high school. You're gonna go on to college, and I did all that.
Yeah.
Now, how'd you get into acting? That's what I want to know. Like, what inspired you to?
You have that time in your life to where you ask yourself, like, is this all that you were meant to be?
Yeah.
Because I used to be in construction.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of construction, like...
That's funny you say that, man, because that was my first career. I actually got my carpentry degree certificate at what is now CSM. We used to be CNM.
CNM, okay.
It used to be TVI, right? And I actually have a carpenter's certificate. So I am a carpenter, just like Jesus. And that was my first. And the thing is, though, see, I did framing in Tucson, Arizona, of all places, for about 2 or 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when I said, nope, I can't do this for the rest of my life, man. Yeah. That's some hard work, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And so construction is no joke, man.
That's no joke, especially being a construction worker in Phoenix, where it's, it's 107 days.
I got so dark, man. I was getting mistaken as a TO, man. People thought I was a Pima. No offense to you Pima bros out there. I got some bros from TO Nation. One time he was putting on lotion, right? The bro, I said, "Hey, bro, you're already dark, man. No, that's no use for you now. Pass it this way. I'm still a little brown."
Yeah, man. So I feel you, man. When it comes to people still doing hard labor, I have nothing against hard labor. You know, I mean, I've done it for so many years, like straight out of high school, actually. Like when I was 17 is when I first got my first job. My brother-in-laws, both thought it would be a good idea to get into construction, which wasn't really a good idea.
I think back then there was a good market for construction. You could make some decent money, but man, that's a young man's job,
Yeah, and then again, going back, it's like one of those things where you start to wonder, like, is this all that I'm ever going to do? Everybody has those thoughts, right? So I had mine, and I was thinking, like, man, I can't be doing this all the time. Getting up at 6 o'clock, grinding all day in 110-degree weather, and then coming back at 7 o'clock, go to sleep, just consistently.
Yeah.
So then I started to do some self-reflecting, like, man, what is it that I want to do?
You're like, to be or not to be?
That is the question.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
So then, and I just thought about it. It's like, man, I've always wanted to be an actor.
Was there a moment where you maybe saw a movie or a scene, that movie that really, have you ever had a scene that just hit you emotionally, you know what I mean? Even as a kid. There's certain movies that I watched, like when I was maybe 10 or whatever, that I still can remember, maybe not the whole movie, but a scene that really affected me on an emotional level.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was this movie called Cowboys, right, with John Wayne.
Yeah.
And A. Martinez from Longmire.
Yeah.
He was in there in that movie. And Bruce Dern, right? Damn, Bruce Dern was a bad guy. But I hated that actor, because he killed John Wayne in the movie. Yeah. And I was just a little kid, man, but it really affected me on an emotional level. And that's when probably the first Western I saw a movie. Yeah. And ever since then, I really like Westerns, Huh. Yeah. But, so I don't know if you have any of those kind of moments where, even before you were ever thinking about being an actor.
It was Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin. Okay.
Charlie Chaplin, man. The reason why I liked Charlie Chaplin was because he was he could really express himself, without saying anything, And for some reason or another, I was just glued to it. I had to watch. I would stay up until like midnight watching Charlie Chaplin. And funny enough, is one of my daughters right now. She loves Charlie Chaplin, and it just takes me back to where when I was younger, I used to sit back and watch Charlie Chaplin, because he had so many different funny moments, and he used to make me laugh, and of course going back to, being poor and growing up, in that type of environment, you need laughter, to get you through the days.
Charlie Chaplin had an awesome quote. I don't know what it is, so I can't share it with you, but but it was awesome. I'll find it. As a performer, it really I really related to it. But yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and then and of course, from that it was just maybe a thought of like, okay, so now I want to go back into acting. Like, what is it I have to do to get back into acting? Like, where do I start? Because I'm standing here, in 30, 40-pound boots, and I'm just covered in dirt. So it makes it hard for you to really.
That happened to me like 2 days ago.
So you know what I'm talking about. It just happened to you.
Yeah, it's happened to me, man.
So and then from there, it's just like, it was a step at a time. It's just all about who you got to know, and things like that. But that's what really inspired me to be an actor.
What was your first role?
First role, like something that really got me any type of exposure was probably Briar Patch.
Briar Patch, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And
that was shot here.
Yeah, it was shot here.
Studios.
And that one was actually something that I kind of, I don't know if it's luck or whatever,
Yeah.
but when I got on set, you know, and Rosario Dawson
Rosario.
actually
Trying to remember her name.
caught me in the trailer, you know, when we was getting, you know, the makeup and everything done.
Yeah.
And she's like, she I didn't know it was her. She was sitting right across from me, you know, in the same, you know, we're both getting our makeup done, but she was sitting in the chair after, but she was sitting with her back towards me. So I didn't know who was sitting there. And I didn't know her name was the terrible parts. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know her name. So I knew who she was because she showed in some films. So,
that's right.
But I didn't know her name.
Okay.
So she spun around in her chair, you know, and so she's looking right at me, and then she's like, "I really like your hair," and I was like, "Okay," and I was like, "All right, thank you," you know. And I don't know if she was expecting me to get like starstruck or you know anything like that, but I was just like blank.
Yeah.
I knew who she was because I seen her in a film, you know, and with Will Smith. You know,
that's a good movie. I know you're talking about 7 Pounds.
7 Pounds, and that's where I remembered her from. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw her.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, so then I was sitting there, and she's like, "So what is it you working on right now?" I said, "Well, I'm just kind of day player kind of thing." And she's like, "I really like your look. You know, have you ever thought about doing like being a detective or something like that?" It's like, yeah, I mean, shoot. Yeah, definitely.
That's funny you mentioned that because sometimes we get typecast, right?
Yeah.
In a certain role. And you seem to always be a detective or
Yeah.
something along that line. I'm always a freaking cop, chubby, jailer, police, sheriff, whatever. In fact, I'm getting ready to audition for, police again. I'll just be like a cop day player.
Yeah. So and then she's like, talk to so and so. I guess was one of the directors. They had three or four directors. Okay. And then she's like, talk to so and so. Let them know that we talked and and have him come over, bring you over to me when we're inside the shoot. It's like, all right, cool. So we got in there and I asked one of the people at Crafty if they knew so and so, and like, yeah, he's right over there. So I walked over there, and I started telling him, I said, hey, Rosario asked me to talk to you and tell you to go meet up with her, so we kind of collab a little bit. So then he's like, all right, so we went to go talk to Rosario, and he's like, oh yeah. And we come over, and she's standing there with her hair still pinned up, Yeah. And come here. So I walked over there, and she's like, yeah, let's put him over here. So I go over there, and sure enough, I got my own desk now. I'm sitting at a desk. And
So were you like, did you have multiple episodes? Were you
Yeah. Okay. I was reoccurring.
Okay, reoccurring.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
and
good.
this is the crappy part because now I'm finally in Briar Patch, and I got we're into our third episode, the first season, and then. Everything looked good, but all of a sudden COVID hit,
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was right at that time COVID hit. And then all of a sudden Rosario stopped production and she was the producer. And all of a sudden they just canceled the whole season.
Man.
I think they made it to like 9 episodes, but after that it was just like.
That's it, huh? Man, that COVID, it pretty much sunk a bunch of new shows, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, they shut down for good.
A lot, man. Everything kind of slowed down right now. So.
Well, it's a good thing Rez Marquee came in after that.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's cool. That's good.
So what about you, man? I mean, I think everybody, I shouldn't say everybody. I know we were talking about this earlier. Like, there are some of those people that still, are not knowing where you came from or where you started.
There's a whole 2 generations.
Shoot, I remember watching you and James, back when I was, a long time ago.
Man,
as far as I can remember, and then
it's funny you say that because I just did this short film, right? And the filmmakers, I did the producer, the director, they're all, man, I got there, they're calling me Uncle Ernie, man, we grew up on your comedy.
Yeah.
That's how long I've been around, all these kids are now adults and making movies and doing stuff, man. They grew up on comedy that James and I did, and I always get that. It's a compliment to me,
Yeah,
it's cool,
yeah.
man. But comedy for me is my second. It's my second choice, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
But it became my living, I it kind of took off. But originally I wanted to be an actor. So, and that's since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be in the movies.
Yeah.
But back then in the 70s and early 80s even, natives, it wasn't rare to see like a real Native American in the movies. Like one of the first people I've seen as Native American was Chief Dan George, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he did this one called Shadow of the Hawk.
Yeah.
It's another movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No,
It's a movie that really had Jan Michael Vincent was in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was one movie that really affected me.
Shadowhawk.
Shadow of the Hawk.
Shadow of the Hawk.
Yeah, it's got some elements of like native witchcraft, sorcery, man.
Yeah.
And there's one scene where he was swimming in the pool and miles away, man, some natives are doing their shenanigans,
Their shenanigans.
This face, man, probably like a mask, like a native mask. I don't know what, maybe the Pacific Northwest, because it looked like a totem pole,
Yeah.
The thing came, man, in the pool underwater and right up to him, freaked him out, So it was one of those movies that, and of course, natives have all their superstitions, skinwalkers or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And Deer Woman, if you're in Oklahoma or whatever. But anyway, that movie really affected me on that level of psychology, I guess. But I remember Chief Dan George, man. He had a scene where these bad guys were after them right on the highway, and they tried to run him off the road. A big old car scene, and they lost him for a while. So they pulled over and he sprinkled some powder across the highway.
Yeah.
And here comes the bad guys, man, and an invisible wall, I guess, was set up, and that car just stopped in its tracks, and it burst into flames. And I said, "Fake, man, that's natives."
Yeah.
But it was a movie that, as a kid, I just it really affected me. But Chief Dan George was my first native I thought was, and then I saw Little Big Man.
Yeah.
Of course, Outlaw Josie Wales. It was a cool movie. So, and then in more modern times, should head to, I mentioned Powell Highway. That was one of the movies that really inspired me in a modern sense to become an actor myself. I was seeing Gary Farmer. My Stooties got an appearance in that. It was just cool to see real Native Americans in doing these big pictures. So that's kind of was my inspiration to actually try acting myself. But my first shot at acting in college, it was a complete and utter failure, man. I took an acting class, just to try it out, and I realized I had stage fright, man. I had social anxieties, This is all stuff that came out in the moment, and that was from a jacked up childhood too.
So that was something that you actually had to work on.
Yeah,
right?
man, I had to overcome stage
So it
fright.
didn't come naturally.
No, man, I failed. When you go to acting class, of course, in college, your fellow students are your audience.
Yeah.
So you got to do a monologue. You got to perform in front of them as your exams. And my first exam, man, I couldn't do it. I forgot my lines. I was too nervous. I do like a 2-minute monologue.
Yeah.
And man, I totally bombed. And like 3 attempts, I just walked off stage, man. And I dropped that class that day. I couldn't do it. I went to re-register and I dropped it. And that was my first attempt at acting.
Yeah.
And for 3 years it bugged me.
Yeah.
Right. And I went back to the Rez, got a job. So I was working for my tribe for about 3 years. Had a good job, man, but back in my mind, and that failure just was eating at me.
Yeah.
And finally, I said, "Shoot, what the heck is wrong with me, man?" And I was really mad at myself and just kind of down on myself. I said, "I can't do this. I gotta go, man." So I made up my mind to quit my job.
Yeah.
Turned in my 2-week notice, and I got registered back into school.
Oh, okay.
This time, full-blown theater major. At the time, I was just testing out acting. I was in the anthropology major. So I went to acting, full blown, man. I said, I gotta do this. If I'm gonna be an actor, I gotta be in front of people. Gotta get used to it, man. Gotta face my fears.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So my second round, I got through. I passed all my classes, and that's when I started acting, doing plays, college plays.
Yeah.
And it was cool because Pima College is where I studied at. But they would bring in these professional troupes of actors, and they would collaborate with the students. And they would do a production, full blown theater production. Rehearsals, a few weeks of rehearsal, and then a show, in the theater, have an audience, paying audience, and us students got to, we had parts in the play, and we got to interact with professional actors, and that was my, I don't know how my my birth of becoming an actor was on the stage.
Yeah. All right, man. That pretty much just wraps it up for this evening. It's been a pleasure, Ernie. Again, so looking forward to the next episode. And again, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button as well, so that way you guys can keep in contact with us.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to thank you guys again for joining us on our very first episode. So, yeah,
awesome.
We'll see you guys all later.